May 9th, 1960. Make way for the pill. The United States Food and Drug Administration approved the oral contraceptive Enovid as safe for birth control use. The pill was the first of its kind to be available by prescription in the U.S., which unleashed a social revolution. 1961. A blistering attack on American television by the head of the Federal Communications Commission. FCC Chairman Newton Minow condemned TV programming during a speech to the National Association of Broadcasters.
Keep your eyes glued to that set until the station signs off. I can assure you that what you will observe is a vast wasteland.
1926. Americans Richard Byrd and Floyd Bennett became the first men to fly over the North Pole during a 15-and-a-half-hour flight. 1918. Mike Wallace, one of the original correspondents on the news magazine program 60 Minutes, was born in the U.S. state of Massachusetts. 1949. Singer-songwriter Billy Joel, the piano man himself, was born in New York City. May 10th, 1869. At Promontory, Utah, a golden spike was driven into the ground, completing the first transcontinental railroad in the United States. 1933. Months after taking power in Germany, the Nazis staged massive public burnings of books considered to have un-German ideas. 1941. During World War II, Rudolf Hess, Adolf Hitler's deputy in Nazi Germany, parachuted into Scotland for what he claimed was a peace mission, but he was treated as a prisoner of war and spent the rest of his life behind bars. 1994. Nelson Mandela took the oath of office to become South Africa's first black president after the end of apartheid. Also in 1994, in Illinois, serial killer John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection for the murder of 33 young men and boys during the 1970s. And 1960. Rock musician Bono, frontman of the group U2 and an anti-poverty activist, was born in Dublin, Ireland.
May 11th, 1973. Charges were dropped against Daniel Ellsberg for leaking the Pentagon papers during the Vietnam War. A judge cited government misconduct by officials in President Richard Nixon's White House, illegal wiretaps on Ellsberg's phone, and a break-in at his psychiatrist's office. Years later, Ellsberg told the Associated Press that he had to release the papers, a secret government study of the role of the US in Vietnam. 1997. In New York, world chess champ Garry Kasparov lost a 6-game match against IBM's Deep Blue computer. Afterwards, Kasparov demanded a rematch, a challenge which IBM declined. 1888. Composer Irving Berlin was born in Belarus, then part of the Russian Empire. Among his songs were God Bless America, White Christmas, and There's No Business Like Show Business. And 1981. Bob Marley, the singer-songwriter who's considered reggae's biggest star, died of cancer in Miami. He was 36 years old. May 12, 1949. The Soviet Union announced an end to its blockade of Berlin, one of the first major crises of the Cold War. 1932. In New Jersey, the body of the kidnapped son of Charles Lindbergh was found in a wooded area miles from the aviator's home. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was later tried and executed for abducting and murdering the infant. 1907. Actress Katharine Hepburn was born in the U.S. state of Connecticut. Among her movie roles were The African Queen, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, The Lion in Winter, and On Golden Pond. 1937. Comedian George Carlin was born in New York City. He was best known for his monologue about the 7 dirty words you can't say on television and radio. And 1928.
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Composer Burt Bacharach was born in the U.S. state of Missouri. Among his melodies were Walk On By, I Say a Little Prayer, and Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
May 13th, 1981.
It's the Pope. He's shot. It was just unbelievable.
Pope John Paul II was shot and wounded by a Turkish gunman in St. Peter's Square. The pontiff recovered, and a few years later he visited his would-be assassin, Mehmet Ali al-Jah, behind bars. 1607. A ship carrying English colonists arrived at the site of what became the Jamestown settlement in Virginia. 1940. In London, Winston Churchill gave his first speech as Britain's Prime Minister during his country's darkest days of World War II. 1846. The United States declared war on Mexico. The war ended with Mexico forced to give up territory from California to the Rio Grande. And 1950. Stevie Wonder, singer, songwriter, and one of Motown's biggest stars, was born in the U.S. state of Michigan. May 14th, 1607, the West begins. Colonists travel ashore in Virginia to begin building Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in the Western Hemisphere. 1804. Meriwether Lewis and William Clark leave St. Louis on their expedition to explore the Louisiana Territory in what's then America's uncharted West. 1948. In Tel Aviv, the independent state of Israel, the world's only Jewish state, was proclaimed as British rule in what's then known as Palestine comes to an end. 1973. NASA launches Skylab into orbit, America's first manned space station. 1944. Movie producer George Lucas, whose films include the Star Wars series and American Graffiti, was born in California. And 1998. Old Blue Eyes and the chairman of the board, American superstar Frank Sinatra, died in Los Angeles. He was 82.
May 15th, 1948. The day after declaring its independence, the new state of Israel was attacked by 5 of its Arab neighbors. An armistice is reached the following year, but Israel and its Middle East neighbors fought 3 more wars over the next 25 years. 1972. Alabama Governor George Wallace was shot and paralyzed while campaigning for the Democratic presidential nomination in Maryland. Arthur H. Bremer served 35 years for attempted murder. 1911. The U.S. Supreme Court ordered the breakup of Standard Oil Company, ruling it a monopoly that violated antitrust laws. The oil giant built by John D. Rockefeller lives on in companies such as ExxonMobil and BP to Chevron. 1856. L. Frank Baum, author of the classic children's tale The Wizard of Oz, was born in New York State. 2003.
I see my loving early in the morning, just for you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
June Carter Cash, singer, songwriter, and wife of country music star Johnny Cash, died in Nashville at the age of 73.